Is it possible for an amateur poker player to become a high-stakes poker player without a poker coach and without studying any poker charts? We're about to find out. Now, phase one of this challenge is simple. We're going to grind low to medium stakes poker, win $10,000, and once we do that, we'll take our shot. Last episode, we got absolutely smoked. I lost over $2,000, which takes my bankroll challenge from $3,000 all the way down to just over $900. Since I was torching my entire bankroll, I played another 3 poker sessions. The first was at Texas Card House in Dallas. Now, to prevent you guys from having to watch an absolute nit fest, I'm just going to give you all the results.
Would you look at that? A Sam Queso fan. Dude,
every last dollar is
photo.
going to be mine. He's going to be working, washing my car for a living.
That game was so boring.
It was so boring.
I won like 120 bucks, but Brandon right here, how much did you win?
Minus 1,000.
Minus 1,000 in a 1-2 game. Night's not over. Night's still young. We're going to play at a bar. We'll see what happens.
So after booking a win that should cover my gas money for the next week, I headed over to play another 1-2 game at a bar in Dallas. This game had way more action. So much action that I found myself stuck almost $500. But 10 minutes before I was about to call it a night, I get involved in a wild hand. I'm on the button and put on the $10 straddle. In this particular game, the button straddle gets ultimate last action, which basically means someone's putting in a 3-bet squeeze from the button every other hand. Anyways, there's an open from under the gun to 30. The +2 and cutoff both call. The blinds fold and action's on me. I look down at King 9 offsuit. This hand sucks, but I'm getting 3-1 on a call, so I flick in the extra $20. The flop comes ace 4-8 all clubs, giving us the nut flush draw. Under the gun checks, the +2 checks, and the cutoff checks. All I need is one more club and I'll have the nuts. So I bet a little over half pot for 75. Under the gun calls and the other players both fold. Heads up to a turn and it's the deuce of hearts. Under the gun checks again. All I have right now is king high. That's obviously no good. I look at my stack and I have just under $500. I need to bet an amount on this turn that can set me up for a jam on the river. I bet 175, which is kind of a trash sizing if I'm trying to set up a jam on the river. But anyways, the under the gun calls, so we're going to need some help here on the river. And the river sucks. It's the 3 of diamonds. The under the gun checks for a 3rd time, and then it hits me. Maybe this river isn't that trash after all. It puts 4 to a straight on the board, and the only player who can really have a 5 in this spot is me. I have just under $300 left in my stack, and I'm going for it all. I jam all in. My opponent tanks for a legit 2 whole minutes, which felt like 2 whole weeks for me because I'm just sitting there trying not to give off any tells that signify that I don't have crap besides king high right now. After tanking for an eternity, my opponent finally decides to fold. Obviously, I show the bluff because this only happens like once a year. And just like that, we're out of the hole for the session. That was basically the only interesting hand we played that whole session. I was into the game for $800, cashed out for $1,025, which means through 2 sessions, we are up around $345. Our bankroll is now a little under $1,300. For my 3rd session, I want to play 2-5. The only issue is we're going to need more than $1,300 to comfortably play 2-5, which means I'm going to have to pull some money out from the reserves. Now, there's only one place that always has 2-5 games running, no matter what time of day it is, and that's TCH Social. These games are typically pretty tough. They have 150 games running per usual, but they pretty quickly open up a brand new 2-5 game. I go to the cage and get $1,500 worth of chips, then I take my seat. To give you guys an idea of what kind of table I'm at, this guy has been mugging anyone who's in a hand to try and pick up on tells, even when he's not in the hand. It was getting weird. So weird that this guy literally asked him, "Is something on my face?" To which this guy responds,
"This is what you signed up for."
I know for a fact this guy watched The Dark Knight before coming because he's trying way too hard. So basically what I'm telling you guys is, I'm at a table full of tryhards, but I have a plan. That plan is to play some skeptical hands to try and send these tryhards on tilt. In my first attempt, I look down at 7-4 suited. The under the gun opens to 20. The button and small blind call. If I can suck out with this hand, it should send at least one tryhard on tilt, so I call as well. The flop is 4-10-3 rainbow. The small blind checks, I check, and the initial raiser bets 50. The other players both fold. Action's on me. I have middle pair and some backdoor straight and flush draws. I call. The turn is an absolute think. It's the 7 of hearts, giving us 2 pair. I check. Come on, brother. I know you want to bet those aces. He wisely checks it back. The river is the 9 of spades. I think this guy almost always has an overpair or just ace high in the spot. So I put out a nearly pot-sized bet for 155, and he snap calls. I show the 2 pair, and he shows pocket aces. Yeah, he's definitely on tilt now. Quick emergency interruption, boys. Look, halfway through editing this video, your boy got bronchitis.
I got bronchitis.
So if you hear a voice crack throughout the rest of this vlog, roast me in the comments section. But just know, I'm still locked in and I'm still dedicated to getting the vlog out to you guys on a weekly basis. So let's get back to it. 30 minutes later, we find ourselves in the $10 straddle. Action folds all the way to the small blind and he opens to 35. Now this guy is by far the most aggressive player at the table, so I definitely want to be playing pots in position against him. The big blind folds, and then I peel 6-4 suited. If 7-4 suited cracked aces, why can't 6-4 do it? I call, heads up to a flop, and we flop 2 pair. The small blind checks. If this guy has an ace, we should be able to get at least 2 streets of value. I bet $30, just under half pot. He calls. Now the turn is a, gosh, I hope my voice doesn't crack. Big, yep, it cracked. It's the 6 of clubs giving us a boat. The small blind checks again. I consider checking this one back, but if this player has an ace, he should call a turn bet. And if I go big, he might think I'm just bluffing with a flush draw. So I bet $110. What happens next is absolutely unreal. My opponent does not call. He folds. The table I was at basically sucked. There were 7 nits and 1 action player. So I decided to get a table transfer, and would you look who's at our new table?
You're dead, brother. I'm gonna double you up, but you're dead. You're drawn dead too, brother.
Last time I sat there with those 2 on my left, I lost 7 times.
So off the bat, our new table looks 10 times better than our old one. Now for the next hour, I basically just play heads up against Tyler. I went some small pots, and then this hand happens. I look down at Queen 10. Tyler opens a $20 from the +1. I call on his direct left. Everyone else folds, so we're heads up. The flop comes 8 King Ace 2 hearts. Tyler bets $15, and I snap call with the gutter. The turn is absolutely beautiful. It's the Jack of Hearts, giving us the nut straight right away, and Tyler does not slow down. Instead, he overbets the pot for $85. At this point, I'm putting him on a hand like Ace King or Ace Queen with the Queen of Hearts. Now, there's no way I'm letting him see a river without putting more money in the middle. I raise to $300. Tyler goes into the tank forever, as if we were playing for our entire net worth. It's $300, brother. Relax. Eventually, Tyler decides to become a nit and fold. Welcome to the club, brother. Exactly 30 minutes later, we pick up a premium pocket 10s. There's a raise from early position to 20, and Tyler calls in the cutoff. Let's bump it up. I make it 90. The original raiser folds, but Tyler's on Omega tilt, so he calls. The flop looks great, but then Tyler does something I wasn't expecting. He donk bets for 100. I see no reason to raise. He's just gonna fold worse hands and call with better hands, so I just call. The turn is the King of Spades. All right, this card's way better from my range. You can go ahead and stop and just, oh, never mind. Tyler keeps on betting, this time for $200. I can't really see him showing up with the king in this spot, so if I thought it was good on the flop, I have to call here on the turn. I put in the 200. The river is a 3 of diamonds. I'm hoping Tyler just checks it over and doesn't go all in and put me in a gross spot. Thankfully, he does check. Now it's on me, and I'm certain we have the best hand. The question is, what hands can Tyler call with? Sure, he could have pocket 8s or pocket 9s, but we have way too much history against each other, and I know who would just fold those hands. Ultimately, I decided to check it back. I show the 10s, and once again, we are scooping our buddy Tyler. Thanks for donating to the channel, brother. It really means a lot. That hand finally gets us in the black for the session. There really hasn't been any big hands or crazy swings, and honestly, I was about to start forcing it, which I know isn't a good strategy, but I want to give you guys at least one interesting hand. Sure enough, we get one. I look down at king, queen in the big blind. Frederick straddles on my left, and action folds all the way to me. I raise to 40. Frederick says, get that out of here, and re-raises to 140. Now, I should probably just fold this hand since I'm out of position and it's off suit, but Frederick does cover me, and he loves trying to bluff me. So I put in the call, heads up to a flop, and we flop top pair. It's hard to know if this is a good thing or a really bad thing. I start off with a check. Frederick bets 90. I call. The turn is the 7 of clubs, giving us a flush draw to go along with our top pair. I check again, and once again, Frederick bets. This time for 300. Now we're in a tough spot. He could easily be doing this with a hand like ace-queen or ace-jack with the ace of clubs, but he could also be doing this with pocket aces with the ace of clubs, and if that's the case, we're in bad shape. I decide to stick around for one more card. I call. The river is a 7 of spades. For a third time, I check. And for a third time, Frederick bets. He bets $450. That just feels like straight value. Had he jammed, I might have snap called. But this bet just screams value. To make matters worse, I have the king of clubs in my hand, so I block all the bluffs he could possibly have. I go in the tank for what feels like an entire day. Ultimately, I decide to fold. Frederick later told me that he had pocket aces, so we saved ourselves nearly $500 there on the river. I did manage to win a few small pots after that hand and get back in the black, but just wait for the outro because the results are gonna shock you. I'll catch you guys in the outro. All right, here are the results. The first 2 sessions I won $345, but the third session I won $18. But a win's a win. So we're still alive in this bankroll challenge, and without spoiling anything, next week's vlog, there's gonna be a big swing. So until next time, shut your mouth, stay locked in, boys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.